Welcome back to Skytech-Lens. The US-Canada border has long symbolized shared values, but today, their alliance faces a major test over submarines. Canada, seeking to replace its aging Victoria-class fleet, launched the $60 billion Canadian Patrol Submarine Project, or CPSP. The project became a flashpoint when President Trump demanded $20 billion of the contract go to US shipyards, invoking his America First policy. Ottawa's firm rejection of this demand shocked both capitals, signaling a shift in the old partnership. By excluding US builders, Canada asserted its sovereignty, wary of American political unpredictability and past trade disputes. Now, with Germany's ThyssenKrupp and South Korea's Hanwha as finalists, the US is sidelined, a sign that middle powers are diversifying alliances and supply chains. This submarine saga is a microcosm of a larger global trend: the slow erosion of US dominance and the rise of a multipolar world. The stage is set for a new era in North American and global geopolitics. Canada's $60 billion submarine investment is driven by necessity, not vanity. Melting Arctic ice is opening the Northwest Passage, turning a frozen frontier into a zone of economic and security competition. Canada's current Victoria-class subs are outdated and unreliable, leaving the nation unable to monitor its own waters as Russia and China increase their Arctic presence. The CPSP also answers NATO's call for Canada to boost defense spending and contribute more to collective security. Modern submarines will let Canada discreetly patrol its vast maritime territory, enforce sovereignty, and deter foreign incursions. Without a credible subsurface deterrent, Canada's Arctic claims are at risk of becoming meaningless. The new fleet is about presence, control, and protecting national interests in a contested domain. In Ottawa's view, this is the price of admission to the great power competition in the High North. Trump's return to the White House revived his America First doctrine, viewing Canada's submarine project as a windfall for US industry. He demanded $20 billion in contracts for American shipyards, threatening tariffs if Ottawa refused. This was not negotiation, but an ultimatum, assuming US economic leverage would force compliance. But Canada, having learned from past trade disputes, was ready. Ambassador Kirsten Hillman publicly offered to buy US goods, but privately crafted a plan to bypass American suppliers entirely. Ottawa's quiet defiance shielded the project from US political interference. The rejection of Trump's demand was a direct repudiation of his transactional worldview. Canada's calculated risk sent a clear message: the partnership with the US is no longer unconditional. The era of automatic deference is over. Ottawa now puts its own interests first. Even close allies are unwilling to subordinate their sovereignty to Washington's economic dictates. The new normal is a more cautious, self-interested approach from Canada. Excluding US shipbuilders was a strategic move by Canada, aimed at securing sovereign control over its submarine fleet. Ottawa recognized that relying on the US would expose the project to political risks, tariffs, export controls, and delays. By choosing a non-US partner, Canada ensures its fleet is Canadian-controlled from construction to sustainment. The CPSP is also a nation-building project, designed to revitalize domestic shipbuilding, create jobs, and foster a sovereign supply chain. Domestic production and technology transfer are central, keeping investment and expertise within Canada. US shipyards, already stretched by their own Navy's demands, couldn't guarantee timely delivery for Canada. Adding a Canadian order would have caused delays and cost overruns for both navies. Ottawa's decision is a declaration of industrial independence, prioritizing long-term benefits over short-term diplomatic friction. This reflects a shift in Canadian strategy: resilience and self-reliance in an uncertain world. Partnering with Germany or South Korea is about more than submarines. It's about autonomy. Canada is redefining its relationship with the US, putting national and economic security first. The move is bold, but necessary for a future-proof defense. Sovereignty now trumps alliance convenience. With US builders out, Canada faces a choice: Germany's ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems or South Korea's Hanwha Ocean. TKMS offers the Type 212 CD, a proven NATO-integrated design with air-independent propulsion for weeks-long stealth. Its interoperability with German and Norwegian navies is a strategic plus for Canada's NATO commitments. Hanwha's KSS-3, powered by advanced lithium-ion batteries and AIP, promises greater endurance and faster delivery, potentially a 12-sub fleet by the 2040s. Both contenders pledge technology transfer and Canadian construction, meeting Ottawa's non-negotiable requirements. The decision will hinge on Arctic performance, stealth, endurance, and the quality of industrial partnership. Canada must choose the proven safety of German engineering or the high-reward innovation of South Korea. The outcome will shape the Royal Canadian Navy for decades. Canada's decision delivers a $20 billion blow to the U.S. defense industry. Major shipyards and hundreds of smaller suppliers lose out on contracts that would have stabilized order books and supported skilled jobs. The loss is felt most by smaller firms, who now face thinner pipelines and retention challenges for critical trades. Politically, the rejection dents Trump's America First narrative and hands ammunition to critics of his abrasive diplomacy. Jobs promised to American workers are now headed to Germany or South Korea. The event signals a global trend. Allies want to be industrial partners, not just customers. The U.S. defense industry must adapt. Flexibility and collaboration are now essential to stay competitive. Canada's move is a wake-up call. The old way of doing business is over. The submarine dispute has chilled U.S.-Canada relations, once among the world's most stable alliances. Trump's transactional approach and Canada's public rebuttal have damaged trust and complicated cooperation on trade, security, and intelligence. The fallout was underscored by Chrystia Freeland's resignation and her suggestion that Canada might seek Britain's nuclear protection, a dramatic sign of waning faith in the U.S. security guarantee. Despite ongoing military cooperation, the current tension creates uncertainty and inefficiency in the alliance. If every issue becomes a zero-sum fight, the collaborative spirit that defined the relationship could erode for good. The world's longest undefended border now feels a little more guarded. Canada's submarine choice sends ripples through NATO, challenging the alliance's tradition of US-led standardization. By prioritizing industrial sovereignty over interoperability, Canada joins a trend of allies seeking domestic jobs and technological expertise. This diversification complicates logistics but also strengthens alliance resilience. Over-reliance on the U.S. is a vulnerability. Robust regional supply chains in Europe and Asia make NATO less susceptible to single points of failure. Canada's move, while complicating standardization, contributes to a more distributed and robust defense posture. The timely delivery of Canada's new fleet is now a key test for NATO. With Russian and Chinese activity rising in the Arctic, a capable Canadian submarine force is vital. The outcome will shape NATO's future procurement model. The US-Canada submarine dispute is a symptom of a shifting world order. Middle powers like Canada are no longer passive. They're making independent choices based on their own interests. Canada's rejection of the US offer is strategic diversification, a hedge against over-reliance on a single ally. This trend is global. Turkey, India, and European nations are all seeking greater autonomy in defense. The shift is driven by doubts about US reliability and the rise of new industrial powers like South Korea. For the US, leadership must now be earned through partnership, not dictated. The new multipolar reality is less predictable, but potentially more resilient and balanced. Canada's submarine decision marks a quiet turning point in this new age. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more updates.